Master in charge, Mr. Floyd Edward Buford. Let there be no mistake.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
everybody here at Future in Life. Glad to be here. I'm glad to see everybody here. The more the merrier. And nice to be with you today. Everybody looks very, very good.
Thank you. You look nice.
Today is the first day. Today is Black History Month. Well, all month really. But today is our day to give our thoughts of Black history. And like anything else that God has His hands upon, I could be all night talking about it. But I'm not going to be all night because I can sit and preach to you about how Black history has meant to me, especially in my high school when I first got my Black history class. And that was a blessing also. Miss Keith, she came to learn with, and I was one of the first of us, of that group, to have Black history in our high school. And we came to find out that Black history was a tough class. And she made us know that Black history is something that we all should know. But this Black history for me is for peace. For the Black men that's going through struggles this month. Always a struggle, especially this month. Things on the news, don't want to talk about it because I want to have peace in my heart. And if I talk about it, I'll get it all day. But we know what's going on the news. Do what's happening to our Black young kids. And this is Black History Month. This is our month. So we have to learn to have peace and control. And in order for you to have peace and control, you have to believe and pray for it. No more anger. That's why I don't watch these TV programs, because I get upset. And I have high blood pressure and I can't take it anymore. Because I've been through it, through my Black history. Well, Black History Month to me, it means for me to have peace in my heart. And forgive the ones that have done to us on this day, on this month. Forgive them because they don't know what they do. But for Black history for me, it's for me to get peace in my heart and don't hate other men, because we're all as a child of God. And no matter what they do, race, creed, or color, we're all a child of God. So when I sit and watch TV, I cannot say this man have taken this Black man's life. And that's all I was on to take his life. I cannot do that. So I ask God, I pray to God for me to have passion and let Him handle that. Because whatever's going on in this world right now, I cannot control it. But I know one thing, when He come back, He's going to put all that to rest. These people is taking these people's lives for no reason and doing these crimes, these fornications, and all this stuff they're doing. Not only Black history, but every month, every year. He is going to put a stop to that. And I can't wait to come back and get these guys that just been just ignoring His word and taking innocent lives, kids. I mean, not only Black kids, Mexican, white, Spanish, you name it. People have just been doing wrong, and God won't put it all. But today is Black History Day. This month is for us. So our potluck today, we thank the pastor, thank the first lady, thank Truth in the Life for this Black History Day. And that's what else, a good dinner. Let's have a great service today for our Black people. And we thank you. Amen.
That is truly what it's all about. And now I would like to call on our deaconess-elect to come forth and give us her presentation of Black history, Miss Penny Rochelle Scott.
Good afternoon, church.
Good afternoon.
Just a quick sidebar. My mom received a call this morning from her younger sister, Lillian, and her husband was diagnosed with cancer a couple of weeks ago, and he was rushed to the hospital this morning and passed away. So very sudden. Yeah, so that was the delay. I'm usually delayed always on my own, but this time it was really so please lift him up, the Johnson family up in prayer.
Amen.
That's your baby girl thing?
Yeah, Lillian.
Lillian.
Yeah, so, and they were just recently married, about 5 years ago. This is their second marriage, so she's having a tough time, and as I said, it was sudden. They just Found out about less than a month ago. No. That's Paula's husband, is Bill. Lillian is, but they both share the same name, Johnson. That's probably why. So, anyway, I just want to share briefly for Black History Month. I shared with my class something that I learned myself. It was quite interesting. A young man by the name of Elroy McCoy, and he was a Black inventor. And he worked for the train system as maintenance, And his job was to go out every few hours and oil the wheels and put the oil to keep things going smooth. And in the elements, of course, it didn't matter. If it's raining, if it's burning up hot, if it's whatever, get out there and get that oil so we can keep going. So he said, there's got to be a better way. So he invented this device that would oil it every few hours on its own. He filled a container up and it would just oil it on its own. So he put it back there and it worked beautifully. Wow. So of course this was several years ago and they wouldn't give Blacks any kind of credit for anything like that. So they tried to just recreate his device. And so they were selling like hotcakes, but it was nothing to the device he had created. It would work properly and they just couldn't get it. And so they said, no, we want the McCoy, the real McCoy.
That's where it comes
and were hence the phrase, the real McCoy. And I had said that phrase myself and heard it several times. Had no idea of the meaning behind it. But they said, no, we want it. He wouldn't give. So they tried to offer, get his patent from him. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. If I can't sell it, you won't have it. Make whatever you want, but you won't get mine. So eventually they had to give in because they couldn't sell. They said, well, certainly we ain't going to let you take credit for this, so we're just going to duplicate it our best we can. But it didn't go anywhere. It wouldn't sell, and so they had to come back and give him credit where credit's due. And in addition to that, he went on to create several other things. His wife did a lot of ironing for side jobs. And at that time, there wasn't an ironing board. It was just literally the board. It didn't have legs. So he created the legs because she would have a tough time ironing tablecloths and whatnot because it would just be, on a flat surface and kneeling down. So he created the legs to it. He also invented the sprinkler head. Because, of course, with just the water hose, you got to stand there and move it yourself. He created the sprinkler device where you put it out there and it's going to water everything simultaneously. So, very ingenious man, Elroy McCoy. So that was quite interesting. As I was sharing it with my preschoolers, I was grinning ear. I was like, wow, this is really cool. But very interesting story. So that's my tidbit for history.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that bit of history. I guess it's me now. As our head Ursula had indicated, I can do Black history personally. But I'm not going to do that. And as most of you know, I spent 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. And so Black men in the military have always interested me. And you hear so little about them, about their achievements, about their units, everything they were in. They're not household names. They're not something that when you speak of individual units during the different times of war that this country's been in, that they are singled out. Only on special occasions, maybe around February, then you begin to hear about these individuals. And some of them, it has taken 70 and 80 years for them to be recognized. Some have now just received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Of course, it was given to their grandchildren or whoever was still left alive of their feats of heroism. A lot of that has been recorded, but they would just keep it under wraps. And they didn't want to let it out. And that's due to ignorance. And this is why Black history is so important. When Black history is out there, and especially when it becomes a part of American history, a lot of those old stereotypes that now have once again rose their ugly heads will be defeated. It will be defeated by the younger generation. Because when you sit around that table, when most information is gathered in from mom and dad, that if mom and dad decide to tell you these falsehoods, you'll have the information already. And you know that's wrong. And so so attitudes will change towards folks. Now, a lot of folks back in the day used to think of black folks as just being lazy and shiftless, not intelligent at all, cannot do complicated engineering feats or think in complicated terms, which was all a lie. And so now Black history is one of the tools that's been used to break down those barriers. So today I would like to speak about a man, and I didn't know this here until just recently, but the first black man that became a commercial airline pilot. Now, you heard about the Tuskegee Airmen and their struggles and the magnificent job in which they did, but along the way, the civilian world was lagging behind, actually, the military. The military integrated in 1947 by the executive decree from President Harry Truman. And by this man, by the name of Captain Marlin Green, and he became the first commercial airline pilot, but it was a rough road for him to hoe. And he got his they recognized him, Continental Airlines did, in February the 10th, 2010, that actually named the plane after him, because that was the airline in which he first integrated. But he was a man born in 1928. His folks was not the typical folks. They were educated. They were dentists. But he didn't really like to go along the dental lines. And so when he came of age, he got a job, and they were from Michigan, so he got a job in the drop forge plant. You know, we made a lot of steel back in those days, and so that's where he got his job. But eventually, he came out of there and joined the family in dentistry. But after that, he went on and pursued his education. He was educated in college in New York, and after that, he soon joined the Air Force. He always had a love of flying, and he had learned how to fly even before he had finished college. He would work just to be trained to get flying lessons to learn how to fly. So after his college education, he joined the Air Force, where they sent him to pilot training school, which was another landmark. In 1947, he spent 9 years in the Air Force, where he logged in over 3,000 flying hours, flying everything, and he was quite good at it. However, he got married, which was another strike against him at the time, because he was in an interracial marriage. He had married a white lady, or his girl, and they got married, and they had several kids. As a matter of fact, they was a kid factory. And so this is what drove him to seek a job in the airlines, because although he was doing well in the Air Force and could have stayed there, they loved him. But as his family grew, at that time he already had 5 kids. And so he needed more resources. You know, he needed a better paying job in order to support his family. So he decided to throw his hat in the ring. He heard of other Air Force pilots and Army pilots at the time leave the military and get a job flying for the commercial airline, which was just exploding at the time. And they were well-paying jobs. And so he decided to resign his commission and and throw his hat in the ring. So he sent out applications to every major airlines in the country. And they had a thing, what race were you at the time? And so as soon as, and he had such qualifications. Generally, his qualifications was more than any other applicant that applied. But he was always turned down for that. And to the point he was unemployed. He had several jobs, and eventually they wound up on welfare. Here's an educated man, a pilot, on welfare because they would not give him a job because of the color of his skin. So after years and years of applying, 6 years of being turned down, he never lost sight of it, although he picked up a job here and there, but his heart was in flying, and he never gave up. So one of the landmark things he did, his last application he filled out was to Continental Airlines. And he put down all of his qualifications, and they was delighted. They gave him an interview to fly the plane. They gave him all of that. But the reason why they gave him all that, because in that box where they said put in his race, he left it blank. And so when he got there, he was all but hired. They had never had an applicant with such qualifications. But when they got there and he showed up and showed it and found out he was a black man, well, they turned him down. Sorry, we can't use you. So after they did that, he filed suit, a civil rights suit, and went all the way up to the Supreme Court. It's taken 6 years to resolve this matter. But in the end, the Supreme Court upheld his case, and Continental Airlines was forced to hire him, where he worked there for them for the next 17 years before he retired. And since then, that paved the way for the other black pilots to get jobs in the commercial airline industry, because now they had a suit hanging over their heads, and if they discriminated against any of those individuals because of the color of the skin, because they could see because of the qualifications, that was a matter of military record, that they had not a leg to stand on. So he went on and had a successful career with them, and he retired after that, and he went on, he passed away. He was about 80 years old when he died, and then they gave him the honor of naming an airplane after him. Continental Airlines did that. So you can give Continental, I guess, credit for being the first airline to have a black pilot after they had been sued successfully. But you can see how important it is for to have black history. I'm pretty sure many of you didn't know about Marlon Green. I know I certainly didn't. There's a lot of men I do know about, but it is so many that has gone unsung. And they got this show called Unsung, talk about the music industry. But these are unsung heroes that have never been recognized up until today. And so my salute to him and his family. They did do an interview with his family, with his wife. I tried to, we still got a ways to go. I tried to go back and research it and research his family, research who his wife was, and there is nothing so far that they have allowed to come through on the internet. But I did happen to see the lady. I was watching one of my channels, the military channel, and I liked watching it because it had a lot of the African American pilots and the soldiers and the different units, and he came on. And on this interview, here was this white lady, Mrs. Green, and then he had her kids on one of his daughters, and they was talking about her father and her husband, which she never married again. And was explaining that. And I even went back to show you we still got a ways to go. On the the military channel. And they got Marlon Green on there, but nothing about his family to show the lady. So we still got a ways to go, but we got to keep on keeping on, y'all. And the main thing about that, don't have hate in your heart.
That's right.
Because to get rid of hate, you got to get rid of hate with love. So if you think because you've been discriminated against, and most of you probably have, and most of you probably will again, but you cannot give hate for hate. You cannot give ignorance for ignorance. You have to defeat that with understanding, knowledge, and love. Because how else will they learn? How else will they learn? So now at this time, it's time for Minister Crystal Donisha Masker, to give us a spoken word.